Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I think I missed like a week, but it's because I've been like really busy. Some things has changed up a little bit in my life. So yeah, but here we are. I honestly don't really like have like a title for what we're gonna be talking about today. Mainly just things I've reflected on once again for the past 2 weeks and like that I just wanted to share with all of you. So I'm just going to dive right into it. I also have my notes right here that I like to reference because I wrote a lot this time. Because, I added up over the past 2 weeks. So I was talking with someone the other day and I just realized a situation that I had where I'm like, I can't decide between should I continue reaching out to this person that I want to talk to, right? Or should I stop it here? Because where do I draw the line, right? Where's the boundary? And I was like, I can't figure this out. So I remember that like I just do what I want, right? And that means having no shame. Because I feel like a lot of the times I, for example, want to keep talking to someone, but I don't because having society or people view me as being desperate. But I feel like it's not really desperate. You're just being you authentically. If you want to continue kind of, I guess, chasing a person, which I don't really think it's like chasing a person, you're just putting in effort to see if that person will kind of give the same energy back, right? So what I do basically is if I want to get to know someone or I'm interested in someone or whatever, uh like platonically, romantically, whatever, I will just do what I want to do, which is I will reach out to you, I will talk to you a lot, I will try to get to know you. And then after a little bit, I will see, okay, are you reciprocating that energy? And if you're not, then it's really time to cut you out. Or like what I do is I kind of wait till I run out of patience because I usually have like a lot of patience for people that like don't really reciprocate back because I feel like some people are just shy. Like some people don't trust people like that because that's me sometimes. Like it takes me a little bit to warm up to other people. So I understand that. Like they have their little trial period that I give them. I don't tell them that, but it's just like I know that in my head, right? And as long as I know that I gave it a try and they don't reciprocate, that's not my problem, right? At least you're moving on with no regrets. For example, like later on in the future, you'll look back and you'll be like, oh, well, whatever didn't work out, but at least I tried to talk to them, right? At least I did what I can. I'd say live life as you want. Do not have shame because what is shame, right? I feel like shame usually comes from what society tells you or how you grew up and people around you tell you that, like, oh, you should not do this, you should not do that. But I think that's too many rules that we're following. We shouldn't follow, but we should make up our own rules that we like, that we feel comfortable following, like second nature, right? I think that's really important because I feel like a lot of things in life is already outside of our control. Why should we not do things that make our lives feel so much easier? And talking about like all of this, there is a balance, right? Like whatever I just talked about deciding when to give up, that's where you have to figure out the balance and where the boundary lies. That's something I feel like you guys can decide on your own and figure out as you live uh, all your experiences throughout your life and things like that. But there is always a choice, and you get to make that choice, which is amazing. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I was speaking to someone, and we're just talking about how, like, they're working in a career that they're not really happy with. And because of a lot of circumstances that is happening, they can't leave their job, right? And well, it's not that they can't, but they choose not to, but it feels like they can't because it's a mental block. And I think this is something that I want to touch upon because I try to talk to them and be like, this is a choice you're going to have to make, right? Do you want to continue working a job that you're not happy in and come back every night complaining to me about how much you're suffering? Or would you just try to change and look for a solution to make yourself feel better? Because I honestly understand that mental stress is too much to handle, and I understand that because I've been through that, and it's forced me to change because I really couldn't handle it. And I feel like situations like these tell you is a sign from the universe that you need to change, or you're going to just be stuck here forever. And they told me like it's not that easy. Like the way it is for you. And I was like, I do understand that. But sometimes what I do in these situations is to force myself to change. We can't wait till we're like ready to change. Like sometimes if you know a situation is not good for you, you will have to force yourself to change. You might not want to, but that is the only choice. For example, I was friends with a group of people that isn't too good for me. I keep making excuses as to why I can't leave. Like, oh, if I leave, I won't be able to make like another friend group. I won't be able to do this and that. I'll be lonely. I don't have people to talk to. Like, I'm already like having such a difficult time, outside of like relationships and stuff. And now I have to give this up as well. But the thing is, do I want to keep my peace and be authentic to myself? Or would I rather just stay around people that are not for me, right? And it depends on what you value. And I honestly rather value myself because I'm most important. I believe that we all should put ourselves number one. This is a situation where you're like, what is best for you? Even though you might not be comfortable doing it, that's a part of change, is stepping outside of your comfort zone. And it's a choice you're going to have to make. And sometimes it's a choice that you might have to force yourself to make because that is essentially stepping outside of your comfort zone. Like that may be harsh, but tough love, you know? Sometimes you just really have to give yourself that push. I also hear a lot of talks about living the soft feminine life and how to be like a soft feminine woman or whatever. And I don't really fully understand that concept because I haven't really deep dived into any of this. But also just a warning that I'm talking from my own experience, just me. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Okay, just a warning. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. I kind of feel like I experienced something recently this week that made me like understand a little bit more about what they mean. For example, lately when I've been getting into arguments with people, you could do one of two things. You can kind of continue arguing with them. And I think that's like a part of our ego, kind of wanting to win an argument, right? Like, oh, you have to like have the upper hand. You have to win. That's why we never like say sorry, or that's why we keep saying things we don't mean. Because I think it's honestly a ego thing. Or you could take a step back and diffuse the situation. And sometimes, depending on the people that you are in this conflict with, you might have to kind of, I don't know how to say this, like stroke their ego or kiss their ass a little bit. And I'm not saying like, I don't like, I'm not trying to say this in like a weird way. I'm just saying like sometimes, like the person that you get into a conflict with could be like your boss or your parents or people that you don't really like have a choice, and you might, or well, not have a choice, but you probably, I think, is better to stroke your ego because it's better for you in the long run. And I feel like a lot of the times most people be like, oh hell no, like why would I stroke someone's ego? Like that's like, you're not being authentic to yourself, or just like I wouldn't do that. Because honestly, before, if it was me, I'd be like, hell no, I would never do that. But recently I've been understanding that this, I feel like this is exactly what these ladies are talking about when they're saying like living a soft life, is you honestly have to take a step back and stroke a man's ego sometimes. Because when you do that, you are softening up and you're leaving space for them to also soften up, right? Because if he's headstrong and you're headstrong, then boom, right? But if you decide that you want to soften up and, make them feel a little comfortable and let them know that, you're willing to listen and things like that, or whatever, just approaching conflicts and situations with like an open mind and just like, it's okay attitude, I find that people open up a little bit more. I don't know. To me, that might be like stroking someone's ego because like I'm also very headstrong and stubborn. But to other people, this might just be like normal. Like, of course you like have to step back and diffuse the situation. Well, I didn't realize that till recently. And it's a very eye-opening experience because I've learned that like, wow, like when I take a step back and give people the room to kind of tell me about what's going on rather than just, for example, people can have a bad day and be really rude to you. And instead of me being like, oh, you suck, you're such a bad person, whatever, I take a step back and I'm like, I actually communicate and I'm like, what's going on? Like, you don't usually act like this. And try to understand what's going on. And then I realize, wow, like they're really opening up. So I just feel like learning how to handle conflicts and giving people grace is a great way to navigate life and just to, I think a plus for like living a soft feminine life or whatever is because you're lessening stress on yourself and like problems because now you learn how to handle situations and conflicts in a better way that doesn't consume too much of your energy. You're not being toxic. You can actually just relax, which I think is very important. And I'm very glad I learned this. Okay. I also wanted to touch upon that, like, I feel like I probably talked about this in my last video, but I realized that I really actually have like stopped judging people a lot more. Like, not to expose myself, but in the past, I would, every time I meet new people, I'd be like, I don't like this about them, I don't like that about them, or they just look like a bad person or whatever. And I was like, I just don't like their energy and their vibe, and that's my excuse to not like someone. But the thing is, I haven't really talked to them, I don't really know them, and I'm already judging them, right? That's a problem. That's not okay. And I didn't want to admit to myself that I was judging people. And the reason why was because I wasn't confident in myself. Because I feel like, oh, they think I'm not cool enough. Basically, because I felt insecure, I decided that other people also like if I like because I didn't really like myself that much, I also just assume people don't like me. You know what I mean? It's like a mirror. I'm projecting. And I think another part of it is not just I'm projecting. It's also just it's kind of because of my ego. Because at a certain point in my life, I got into spirituality and I thought I was like awake, I was like woke. And I decided that, you know, I was better than everybody else. Not better, but like, oh, like I'm awake and they're like all NPCs and things like that, which is so cringe to say. But now, like taking a step back and learning, I'm like, no, people are not NPCs. We all have our own experiences and struggles that kind of shape who we are. And we might not necessarily vibe with everyone, but at least understand that and moving forward, not judge people so quickly. Give them a chance, right? Just like the way we should give ourselves a chance in everything. I just think it's a good habit to have. And it took me a while to get to this point because, like I said, I judge people very quickly, very badly. Sometimes I don't say it, but it's all in my head. And even now, sometimes I probably accidentally judge people or like get jealous of people, whatever. What I do is I acknowledge that I'm having these thoughts. And then I take a step back and I tell myself, like, yes, I'm having these thoughts, but that doesn't define who I am. That's these thoughts are coming from my ego. My soul, my person knows I don't actually feel this way. My consciousness, I'm taking a step back and being like, this is not who I choose to be. Right? And I think part of ego is developed through our society. I think it's trained us to judge people. Right? And that's why I think it's important to reflect on our thoughts. Sometimes these thoughts are not us, it's a reflection of society. And I think it's, like I said, very important to keep in mind. But now the real question is, so how do you know if you're judging someone because, you're just judging them, or is it discernment? How do you tell the difference between judging people and discernment? Well, the thing is, I feel like you would probably know. You just have to listen to that voice inside your body and admit to it. For example, I know when I'm actually jealous of someone and I don't like them versus discernment. Oh, like I don't like their energy. Like at this point, I know because I remember how it felt when I was jealous. Just remember the feeling and admitting to it. And the more you kind of are conscious of what you're feeling and understanding it, I think you have better judgment, right? Be like, okay, this is just me, like, kind of, this is my ego, or this is actually like discernment, right? It's just taking a step back and thinking through it, taking your time, slow down, slow down. I think that's very important. Like, take a step back. I feel like I said that like 5 million times, but yes, slow down. And because recently, like I said, I've been reflecting a lot about how I'm living my own life now and things I can improve on, I remembered that I used to say all the time that everything is an experience. Life is an experience. And I think everybody should live by that. For example, let me just take a look at my notes. So, I'm the type of person where I live life through experiences and feelings. I live through life very intuitively with fluidity and just how I feel about things rather than facts. For example, like, okay, if I went to travel to a different country, I'm not going to remember like the exact name of this building that I saw, or like what monuments I visited, or like the names of like all these famous places with like these names. I don't remember. I remember the what it looks like. Yeah, I can describe it to you. I can remember the feeling and like how I like the experience that I had and like how I felt. It's all about feelings, right? And much less about I went to this place, I went to that place, I went to see this artist, I went to see that artist, like I saw this show. Like I'm not gonna remember that. Like I feel like a lot of the times when we talk to people, they always somehow like I notice people do this. They're like, "Oh yeah, so where did you go?" I know like they're not asking this to be like interrogative or to kind of like one up you. They're just curious. But sometimes I feel like people really are like trying to be like, "Oh, like did you see this place in like in Paris or something, or did you see that place?" And I'm like, "Girl, no. Like I'm just there for an experience." Like because sometimes like when I say no, they're like, "Oh, like you how do you not know what that is?" Girl, cuz I don't. What about it? I think you don't have to go to a place just to see like whatever's famous just cuz it's popular, just cuz everybody wants to see it. No, like sometimes you just want to go somewhere to experience it and enjoy life. It's I just don't like the whole like that I don't know how to describe it, like that whole thing. It just feels very like performative. Like why can't I just do what I want? Why do you people have to quiz me on my experience for it to be valid? I think feelings are also valid. It's not just like facts. Like that's not how life works. And like I said, yeah, I feel like people usually like challenge my experiences, and I don't really fuck with that. So and I also feel things through vibes, which is really important to me. Like if you I don't know how to explain it. Like anytime people ask me anything, it's always like, "Oh yeah, it's like this vibe." But I have the perfect example. When I'm listening to music, there's sometimes because people are more experienced and knowledgeable in music, they would know what genre this is or what genre that is. To me, I kind of just clump everything together based on the beats that I'm hearing. I wouldn't know what the genre is called. I'm just like, oh, for example, like, oh, I listen to hyperpop, right? But there's a lot of subgenres of hyperpop. I'm not gonna know the name. I just know it's this genre and I enjoy it. And then sometimes people are like, how do you know what genre, how do you not know what genre of music you're listening to? Because I'm just enjoying music. I can't just enjoy music. Like, why do we have to one up each other about music? Like, you get what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like a lot of the times in life, people are like constantly trying to one up each other about who knows more about what. That's not important. Are you enjoying what you're doing? Are you enjoying what you're listening to? Yeah, then that's all you need to know. That's it. We're good. So what I was trying to also say is that like I know there's definitely a lot of people out there like me that experience things very differently and we process things very differently, right? It's not always about facts. It can be about feelings and like any of our five senses. Touch, smell, whatever, taste, whatever. However we experience life is up to us and how we process it is also up to us, and I don't think people should be questioning that. And that's why I feel like this touches upon the topic of like what people call like smart people, or who's considered smart, who's considered intelligent. Usually it's book smart people, right? Like, oh, if you do good in school, you get good grades and you succeed at your job, you're considered smart. No, smart could also be something else. Smart could be like the uniqueness and the creativity that you have. Like being smart and intelligent, I feel like it's not something necessarily measured by like the education system or like the work world. I think it's more about like when you communicate with someone, like I guess part of it is how much common sense do they have and are they an empathetic human being? I think that's really important, and I feel like that defines more about intelligence than anything else, because being able to connect with other people and understand other people, to be sympathetic, empathetic, and just have emotional intelligence is also basically what I'm trying to say, is also, factors into that. So don't ever feel like you're not smart enough or you're not like, you can't compare to other people. You don't have to compare to other people because you are you and what you have is unique to you. And I don't think anybody else can recreate that. Yeah, there could be someone similar to me, but that doesn't mean they're me. I could meet someone similar to me and I wouldn't like them because we still have our differences, which is why I think we should all appreciate ourselves for who we are. And if you aren't happy with who you are, that is where we go back to what I just said. You have to make a choice and change that. How can you better yourself to be the best version of yourself for you, not for other people, but what makes you happy? Take some time to think about that. Okay, that was a lot of talking. But the last thing that I want to touch upon is I shouldn't try so hard to push my spirituality views onto other people. For example, like unsolicited advice, basically. Like at this point, like sometimes we have to know when to take a step back and not give advice that people didn't ask for, right? You can't, you can't, I feel like it's a kind of like self-righteousness almost. Like sometimes I feel like I might have accidentally stepped on that territory of like giving unsolicited advice and like being self-righteous almost, because I have good intentions of like trying to help other people and try to give them advice because I see them suffering and I'm like, oh girl, like I went through that too and I don't want that, and I don't want you to have to also experience that. So I try to give them advice that works for me. But the thing is, I guess it might not necessarily work for everyone else like the way it works for me, and they all have their own paths to take and they get to decide how they want to kind of go upon dealing with their kind of issues, traumas, and their healing process, right? What I can do is just tell them my experiences and let them know that there's always room for change. And if they are ready for that, they can come to me and kind of get my perspective on things and then take that into consideration. But also remember that they are their own person and they could, kind of take like little pieces of perspective from different people, add it together and be like, okay, this is the solution I want to use to change my life. Like I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but basically like I'm telling this mainly for myself, but like also for people that, also kind of do this, whereas like you're pushing like your own agenda onto other people. Like we're not doing that. Mm-mm. We're just trying to, I guess, be more mindful and listen. More listening and less talking about like, well, we did this and this and that, because we're not here to show off. We're here to like kind of try to understand their experiences and lend an open ear and an open heart so that they can feel comfortable enough to really unpack whatever issue that they're having. And because they're, willing to unpack it, like, because they're already like opening the package, they might as well dive a little deeper on their own. It doesn't have to be because like it doesn't have to be like us guiding them through that, but it could just kind of, what do you say this, like prompt them. No, it's not, that's not the word. Like kind of yeah, like initiate. We kind of initiate that for them, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm yapping at this point, but thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have anything that you want me to talk about in my next videos, please leave a comment below, and just please let me know what you think and if you have any experiences similar to mine and things like that. I was thinking of like doing a video about overconsumption in this current economic landscape. I'm not going to touch too much upon politics because that's not my thing, but just being more mindful of how we're shopping and our money spending habits. Let me know if you guys want to hear more about that. I probably will make a video about that. But anyway, see ya!